So the other week, I made a video on how Liverpool managed to win the 1920 Premier League title, and in that video, there was a comment, and I read it, and I thought, that's actually a good idea, I'll make a video on that. And that comment was, could you perhaps do a video detailing the differences between 1820 Liverpool, so 2018 to 2020, and the 21-22 side, which obviously didn't win the quadruple, but they made a good effort at it. So yeah, I've calculated a bit of data, found some things that basically portray what I'm going to say in a minute and how Liverpool differed between the two seasons. Heads up, there's not a massive difference, but if you actually look at the heat maps and the underlying stats, there's a slight difference between the Liverpool team that won the league and the Liverpool team that won the two domestic cups played. So yeah, anyway, without further ado, let's get on with the video. So here is Jordan Henderson's heat map from the 1920 campaign, and as you can see, he is occupying a lot of the middle third. Obviously, it's what you'd expect from a right central midfield player, helping out both offensively and helping out both defensively. A lot of red in the middle of the pitch because that's where he spent most of his time. Whereas when you look at the 21-22 heat map, yes, the red is still very similar in an attacking third, but look how much less red there is in a defensive sense. That season, Jordan Henderson didn't help out as much defensively as he did when Liverpool won the league, and he was involved a lot more further up the pitch, especially down that right-hand side. Obviously, this heat map is from the Premier League, but if you go watch Liverpool against AC Milan at Anfield in the Champions League that season, Henderson does a perfect dummy run, which allows Trent to score, and it's a perfect example of what he did a lot that season. So effectively, I'll explain what the goal was, but obviously go watch it too. Trent picked up the ball, Salah almost dropped into that position where you would naturally see Trent when he's whipping in the ball. Henderson made the dummy run to where Salah was, drew out the defender, and Trent continued his run centrally. Well, not centrally, he's coming out from the right, but he's coming in centrally, and he dinked it over the keeper and scored a goal. Yes, there was a deflection, but that was all created by the interchange of Salah, Jordan, Henderson, and Trent. And a lot that season, that is what they did. All three of them would move around, it would confuse defenders because the left back thinks he's marking Salah, next you know he's marking Henderson, next thing you know he's marking Trent, so it bamboozles them, and that season it was used a lot. The interchangeableness, if that's a word, of Trent, Henderson and Salah was so effective, and that's why it differed from the 1920 season, and it's evident by the heat map. Another way this Liverpool team differed was with the striker position. Firmino, he was Liverpool's centre-forward during their title-winning campaign, and Diogo Jota was Liverpool's main centre-forward during their quadruple-chasing season. And as you can see by the heat maps, the way both strikers played is slightly different, and yes, it was probably down to personnel. Jota, he's a better goal scorer than Firmino in the sense that he's better in the box, he's better at getting on the end of crosses, and he's a bit of more of a goal-scoring forward 2 foot as well. He's brilliant. Not that Firmino's not good in front of goal, but Jota, his main job is to score goals, whereas Firmino, he's a lot better at dropping deep, winning the ball back, little 1-2s and little touches in and around the central midfield positions, and that is evident by the heat map. As you can see with Jota's heat map, there's a lot of red on the left wing, because he often drifted out over there, and there's a lot of red in the box, because he was primarily in the box. There's not much red in the midfield region, and very, very little in the defensive region. Whereas Firmino, yes, obviously there is a red in the box as well and out on the left. But if you look at the amount of red in the defensive and midfield regions, it's a lot more than Jota. That's because Firmino tended to drop a lot more deep than Jota during the 1920 campaign. And you could say, is that a change in tactics? I really don't think it is. I just think it's a change in personnel, because Jota is, like I said earlier on, he's more of a striker, whereas Firmino is more of a centre forward and maybe even could play the 10 if he was ever used there. But yeah, you can see how the two strikers differed, and this did affect Liverpool's play style a little bit, because Firmino dropping in obviously created a lot more midfield stability, and yes, Jota did drop in, but he didn't drop in quite as much as Firmino. So as you can see, the way the two teams operated was slightly different. However, it's worth a big mention that the way they set up was exactly the same. 4-3-3, defence played a high line, fullbacks attacked down the flanks, and the front three was narrow. But obviously the way they played individually was different. Jota, more advanced than Firmino. Henderson during the 21-22 season, more advanced than he was in the 1920. So yeah, that's how the two teams differed. There is a few more differences, but they're the most notable ones. Robertson played much the same. Fabinho played much the same, however, I'm not going to show you his heat map, but it did suggest a little bit more that he was covering more at the flanks, and maybe that was due to Henderson being more advanced down the right-hand side. The wingers, obviously, they played pretty much the same. Salah was virtually the same player that he was in 1920 compared to 21-22, apart from the fact he linked with Trent and Salah a bit more down that right-hand side with the interchangeable play in the triangles. And yeah, that's pretty much the only notable differences. There wasn't a massive difference, like I said, and both two teams were very good. However, in my opinion, the team that won the league was better, because I think Firmino, he was better than Jota, and although in that season where I said Jota was the main striker, he was displaced in January when Diaz came in because Mane played centrally, so there was a slight difference there. And if you look at Mane's heat map, I'll quickly show you that now, you can see it's very similar to Jota and less like Firmino's, and that's because Mane, obviously, being a winger, he's not really a false nine, although he did do a very good job at it that season. Anyway guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope you have enjoyed it. That is basically the differences between 21-22 Liverpool and 19-20. If there's any more things you think I missed out or any things you want to add, put them in the comment section. But thank you for watching the video guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one.